Hi, welcome. Thanks for taking a moment to watch this video. I want to briefly tell you about why only 1% of the population of that is really truly healthy and thriving. So from some peer-reviewed research through the Mayo Clinic, we now know that more than 50% of people in the United States have a diagnosed disease, which actually means there are many walking around who have not yet been diagnosed with this disease. We know now that between 65 to 75% of American population is overweight or obese, which puts them as predisposed for diabetes, heart disease, strokes, and so many other things. And then we know that 70% of the population now is on prescription drugs. And if you're over the age of 65, that means that most people are on up to 5 prescription drugs beyond the age of 65. What's even worse is that we now know that 80% of people are diagnosed with some kind of mood disorder, whether that be depression, anxiety, learning difficulties, cognitive disorders, memory loss. So that means that 80% of people are truly not thriving. And then when asked if people had 4 basic healthy habits, 97.3% of the population is not practicing 4 core habits to stay healthy and free of disease. And those core habits means having a healthy weight, which we just talked about, eating well, exercising, and not smoking, which means almost over 97% of people aren't just doing basic healthy habits. And then if you add on sleep and stress reduction and yoga or meditation or anything that's going to help reduce stress and cortisol levels, less than 1% of the population is actually doing those things. Which is why the reason I created 10 Weeks to Love Your Body, because I knew from my own healing journey that these things were not happening cross-culturally, and they were certainly, I felt like I was living in a very healthy population, and yet I wasn't seeing these basic core healthy habits happening within myself for the most part, and also for those my loved ones around me. And so what the Mayo Clinic has found is that if you really truly want to be healthy, then you're actually a deviant. You fall outside of the norms. And to be somebody who's truly healthy and thriving, and you are that 1%, you're pretty much alone in your journey, and you're not really having those habits enforced around you, which can be a long journey upwards to health. It can be a long haul, carrying a heavy backpack, being a small percentage of the population, doing the core things that take us to be free of disease. Well, what I have found is that Ayurveda is truly the missing link to living a healthy lifestyle. So Ayurveda, which was developed 5,000 years ago in India, is the original medicinal science to keep us free of disease. So in America, if you're in that 50 to 70% of the population that has a diagnosed disease or on a prescription drug, then you had to get diseased before you got a diagnosis, meaning that you were on your way to ill health for a long time before the diagnosis occurred. So it's a trajectory. It's not something that happens overnight. Well, Ayurveda is the opposite end of the spectrum. Rather than waiting for us to get a diagnosis, Ayurveda teaches us all the healthy habits to keep us free of disease. So those healthy habits are having healthy morning rituals, having healthy afternoon rituals, having evening rituals. So really living our body, living our daily life, keeping our biorhythms and circadian rhythms in sync with nature and with our own energy level and our own bioenergetic bioindividuality. So what is a one-size-fits-all approach we know now does not work. So you cannot put 100% of the population on a diet and see everybody thriving, nor can you put 100% of the population on one health protocol and see that everyone's going to thrive. And also we live in different socioeconomic statuses. We have different, different communities. And so what would work really well for one person, somebody else might be in a completely different scenario. They might have children where somebody else doesn't. They may have an aging parent, or they may be part of the aging population themselves. So, so basically what 10 Weeks to Love Your Body does is it gives 10 core habits which include like plant-based diet, stress reduction, meditation, and really working with your bio-individuality. And you have a roadmap to start to build upon the habits that you already have. And we also know that if you try to quickly overnight change habits in people, it's going to be really hard to sustain that over the long haul. So the more gradual and slow that the change occurs, the more likely it is that you're going to be able to keep those habits going beyond a New Year's resolution. So we can certainly create intention. We can certainly have a goal in mind. But if we don't have a roadmap and we don't have a system in place, then our success is going to be very limited. So 10 Weeks to Love Your Body gives you self-inquiry worksheets, accountability calls, homework, if you will, to read and educate yourself. We also know that after college, most people only read one book in their life. And also it's shown that people that order a book on Amazon, they most likely don't make it past the first chapter of that book. So we as a whole don't really have good systems in place to have long-term growth trajectory. And so 10 weeks really gives you a roadmap, it gives you a process, it gives you accountability, it gives you group dynamic support. So 85 to 95% possibility to make massive transformation happens with a group and not alone. Because really you are that deviant, and if you're that deviant, you really don't have a support system. So once the support system's in place, behavioral science shows that people are able to make 85 to 95% more change with a group than all alone by themselves. And really, that's what I saw in my healing journey. I saw that I was trying to be a healthy deviant and taking that long mountain climb myself with a very, very heavy load on my back. And so that's, I'm gonna end the conversation now on 10 Weeks to Love Your Body and switch over to 1 Year to Love Your Life. 1 Year to Love Your Life is the continuation of 10 Weeks to Love Your Body, where in the second module, we go deep into the science of Ayurveda. We go into all of the why of the science. So we take this into Eastern medicine, and then in the third module we pair it with Western medicine. So we take all of modern day research, the best of what's coming out on neuroplasticity, the gut microbiome, the heart-brain connection, and really psychology around how we hack our habits. And we take all of this research and we combine it with Eastern medicine, and really we create a complete full picture, and that takes a whole year. There's another reason why I created 1 Year to Love Your Life, and that is because 10 weeks is like the tip of the iceberg. You just get introduced to these concepts. You just start to integrate them into your body and into your system. And really, we know that to have a core habit really truly be our lifestyle, that it takes longer than 40 days. And so it really can take a whole year to really integrate those habits into long-term change that really becomes part of your lifestyle. The other reason is from an Ayurvedic perspective, as the seasons change, so do our habits, so does our biorhythms, our circadian rhythms. So we might be really good at a habit in one season and then it'll fall out of favor, if you will, in another season. So we go through these shifts. We go through a shift of our mentality around the spring, the summer, and the fall and winter. And our daylight hours are shorter. It gets colder. So we may be really good at, say, going to the gym in the winter, but then the summer comes and, we might be outdoors. But how do we keep these habits in place systematically throughout an entire year? And so if you're looking for just a way and a system, then 10 Weeks to Love Your Body would be a good fit for you. If you are looking for deep transformation, then 1 Year to Love Your Life is a good fit. Either program is really good for a self-healer person. It's great to bring it into your family and into your community. If you are somebody who's, say, a teacher or a social worker or somebody in the healing arts, then the 1 Year to Love Your Life will give you a 300-hour certification in these lifestyle habits. And 10 Weeks to Love Your Body, you don't really get a certification, but if you are a yoga teacher, you can get continuing education hours. The other question that people ask me is the affordability. So I have made 10 weeks to love your body as affordable as I possibly can. So there is a one-time payment of $495. I've also broken that into 2 payments at around 240 or 250, and then the third payment is 165. So you can pay over 3 months to be part of the program. 1 year to love your life, I've broken into a one-time payment, a 12-month payment plan, and an 18-month payment plan. Again, to get it as most affordable as possible for those who want to participate in either of the 2 programs. So I hope that this answers any questions that you have. I hope that the statistics that I gave you at the beginning really pique your interest, because really, truly, to be disease-free, to be thriving, to be emotionally, physically, and mind, body, and spirit healthy, you have to have a system in place. And going it alone, our culture really doesn't teach the core habits across the board. So you may get, like, say, diet as part of your change, or you may get the physical activity. But I'm trying to give 10 core habits to give a complete picture of health. And so, yeah. And I think that's really all that I wanted to go over. If you have questions, feel free to email me at love, which is LUV, yourself today at gmail.com. So again, it's not LOVE, but LUV, yourself today at gmail.com. And I will gladly get back with you. If you want to set up a one-on-one call with me, my cell phone number is 502-419-4725, and I would be glad to speak with you for 15 minutes or so over the phone. Thanks for listening.